The script, I wanted to make sure that every student had a chance to have their own constitution to carry with them. And we talked on the phone, and at the end of that conversation, he told me, "You don't know this," and I didn't. I carry my own constitution with me every day, and that's when I knew this was meant to be. We were just meant to come together on this. So that really was an exciting moment for me to know that I wasn't out there alone thinking this was something great, that there were other people that felt the same way. And that's what we want to do now, is to get other people excited about it, excited about what we're doing, and hopefully something that can bring us all together, because it's the one thing that binds us all together as Americans. No matter what you believe, no matter what you think, no matter what your religious beliefs or non-religious beliefs, it does not matter. The Constitution binds us all together.
Right.
So one thing, and that's what I'd like to see happen, is for kids to get excited all over again about living in America, what a great country we have, and what a wonderful document this is, that other nations, they base their constitutions on ours.
Sure.
You know, because it's an amazing document, and I think that we need to, come back to what really matters, and that is the fact that we all come under that.
Too many people are using it as a club.
and that's what we're up against, because we have this script, and everybody has a hot button, and it's kind of like what we want to do is try and make this relatable to 8th graders, so that one of the things that I'm getting out of the conversations with Mr. Clooney, and everything that you've said, trust me, I'm taking in, is why it should be important to them, and why my concern is why they don't think it's important to them, and part of that has to do with what we talked about, cynicism and ownership of the document by some parties. I mean, and this is everybody's constitution, and we should all be one of the things, the biggest frustration in the last few years is how no one, how we can't get anything done because no one wants to work together. Well, that comes from the Constitution and how it was started, and it's like Mr. Clooney says, if you don't like it, you can change it, and there's a cynicism that I can't do anything about my government, I can't do anything about the Constitution. Well, it's harder, but you can if you believe in that. And if you inspire one person from this program,
virtually every one of those amendments.
Sure. Who came up with the metric of the 8th grade?
Well, I did, because that's when I remembered studying. I had a Mrs. Alexander in 8th grade, and I will never forget her. Her words were eminent domain. We had to memorize eminent domain. I remember that forever. But I started researching, and I found that in 8th grade, that is when the curriculum in the U.S. dictates that students have a more in-depth view of the Constitution. They touch on it in other grades, but in 8th grade you have civics class, and that is part of that curriculum. And so that age group, and two, for me, it's all about us all finding our voice. Because for me, we had went through something where I didn't feel like I had a voice, and I related that to that age, because at that age, it is a difficult age, and you don't feel like you have a voice, and you don't feel like you matter sometimes. And so I wanted to really instill in our young people at that age, when they're studying the Constitution, that they get excited about the fact that they have a voice, and that voice is protected. But we also have to protect the Constitution. So, it's kind of a twofold thing.
Sure.
But that's kind of where all that came from. So that really appealed to me in working with this age group, because I think it's so important for young people to know that no matter who they are, where they come from, what they are, their voice counts and it matters.
And I personally repealed the Volstead Act myself. Prohibition.
and just so they know, because everyone asks what 9/17, can you sort of talk about the holiday and why you're...
Yes.
Bobby Bird.
Yes.
Yeah, I do. Are you about...
No, I'm just making sure.
Okay.
Sorry.
I just didn't...
No, not a problem. I just make sure.
9/17 came from, I was trying to find something that would appeal to everyone, but yet would not look as if it was affiliated with any type of party or anything like that, because we're totally nonpartisan. We don't want anything to do with that. We want kids to make up their own mind. That's the whole point of it. The Constitution gives us that ability, that we can agree or disagree, and that's great. So I chose 9/17 because that's when the Constitution was signed, was September 17th. And by law, we're supposed to be celebrating that every September 17th in our school systems. A public school that receives federal funds should have a program on the Constitution.
Gotcha.
But what I found is many schools aren't able to do that. A lot of times it's just funding, a lot of different reasons. So we want to fill that void. We want to make it to where a teacher can go to our website, get that movie, order their constitutions, and they've got a program on the Constitution right there.
And this is sort of the grassroots movement. I mean, this is just
I like that.
yeah.
And I think a teacher will like that.
Yeah.
Right,
You've
right.
got that in your hand.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they don't, they have to worry about trying to fund it. I've sold donuts in Walmart before, for school. I grew up, I was married for years to a public school teacher, so I know how hard funding is. And that's one of your biggest obstacles is resources.
Where'd you go to school?
Where I went to college or high school?
Wherever.
Well, I went to college at MTSU, which is in Murfreesboro.
Okay, yeah.
I attended Martin Luther King, which is actually in downtown
Nice.
Nashville for my secondary school. Yeah.
Oh.
Wonderful.
And we had some really good programs. There are things that I never remember celebrating. September 17th is one of them.
You don't remember?
Never.
I don't remember a single instance
either.
where we had like a program that was actually a part of that. But we did have a really sort of almost intensive civics class already. So I think it just kind of kept going throughout the year. I don't ever remember.
Date.
I never remember the date. So
Well, we hope that everybody will remember the day when we're finished. They'll know that day.
it's exciting. As soon as I heard about this program, that's immediately what I wanted to do. I wanted to come and talk to people about it because I thought it was a really fantastic idea. So what I would like, do you have one of the things we were discussing? We realized it's a short film. Are there any plans to make a feature length film, maybe in a documentary vein, or?
We're hoping, of course it all depends on funding, and we're hoping that we can fill our website full of things that appeal to young people. So we can do some different things, some different scripts, some different parts of the Constitution, that we can do some things that can bring that to life for them through our website.
I mean, I think one of the things that a few of us that have been involved in the beginning is, Joni you hear Joni's story and you're inspired and you go, yeah, I want to be part of that. And for us, there's a whole educational process because the school systems, I mean, there are so many leaps that we have to make with this program. We want to get the first video made, we want to get the website up, we want to sort of develop that, get feedback from teachers, and then kind of take it from there and, take the ball and run with it. And Joni's very passionate, and I think she's got a lot of great ideas, and like I said,
Absolutely.
Mr. Clooney came on first, and I've been with her for a few months, and we brought some other people in, and
Excellent.
yeah, so I hope she lights a fire under people, and and then again, part of this for me is there's a great learning process here because like everything else, every project that I do as a producer is a learning process, and just like I was telling Mr. Clooney about the Civil War and all that kind of stuff, and things that I learned about now, and I've done projects on cancer. It's one of those things where you walk into it, you try and learn as much as possible. Well, I really want to know about the Constitution, and I got a good lesson today, and it just inspired me to do more homework. So, and Joni and I will be working hard on that as we develop the script and move forward, and we'll be launching the website on September 17th, and really it depends on funding where we're going to go as far as when the film's going to be released, but it will be this year for sure.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, better be this year.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
I did want to ask, when we were looking at it, we had seen that you had mentioned that you carried around with you always. You always carry the
Go see it.
Constitution with you. By all means. Well, I actually picked up my own copy from the front, so
That's
I was
awesome.
really excited by that. One of the first things I said was, well, I hope they
I
have
the
some
one
there
with
from me.
the type is a little bigger.
Oh, nice.
When did you, was there a moment where you just sort of thought, I love this document? This is it.
Oh, sure. And that was kind of early on, actually, because I was lucky enough to have a teacher. And the teacher talked about the hot place where they were having the discussions and where the battles were going and what they were fighting. This is before 1776. This is before all this other stuff. This is now 1789, you know, and she was telling me about all the things that went on in 1783 in Kentucky, you know, and the stuff that was going on in Aaron Burr and all and these. She made these stories live. I mean, I wanted to kill Burr myself. And then she started talking, and we all had to learn this, and this was earlier than 8th grade in our case. This was like 5th grade, and we had to learn the preamble, all of us, and we also had to learn not all of the Declaration of Independence, thank God, but the first 6 paragraphs, and other stuff like that. And she just sold me on this story, and I have never been unsold. It's a great story because it's not over. It's still going on. It's still changing. It's gotten better. It's gotten worse. It's gotten mediocre. It's gotten trivial. It's gotten serious. And it's going on all the time. There is nothing more salacious than the story of America. There is nothing also more inspirational than the story of America. It is incredible. I fell in love with it when I was a little boy. So that was luck. And I never got too far away from it. And I think it was in the Army, I'm sure it was in the Army, where I got my copy, that we had a small copy that had both the Constitution of the United States and the Declaration of Independence, and a couple of other documents that were important in our history. And I got that, I was in Germany at the time and got my copy of it. And I think I've pretty much had a copy of that with me since, you know, it stayed with me.
Excellent.
And I've won a lot of arguments that way. A lot of arguments.
It's hard to
This is wrong with
argue
school
with
to
the
few
actual
people.
Constitution,
Right.
I think.
No, you're totally wrong. Look at right here.
When you, coming from a journalistic standpoint, you've always sort of pushed for objectivity in journalism. Do you think that, like civics literacy and media literacy kind of have to go hand in hand?
No question. We have proved that over the years, haven't we? And just as soon as we go for, when tabloid becomes the centerpiece of, I'm not talking about size, I'm talking about real tabloid.
Right.
When that becomes the centerpiece of our delivery system, that is exactly the time we've gone soft on the institutions. And the institutions themselves get soft because they're not being supported bureaucratically the way that they're supposed to be. There is morality to this. You know, there is a center post of morality, and when that goes away in journalism, or is even softened, use trivialized again, but that when that happens, I think it's clear historically that they prosper and fail in tandem. They really do. It's because journalism is so important to the democratic process. And if that isn't right, if that doesn't matter to somebody, then that's real trouble.
Does this program 917 does it also encourage media literacy in the same way that it encourages like?
I don't think that it only. I don't know. Let me say, I don't know. I don't know what their plans are. I don't know if they want, if they would choose. Probably, if I were to advise them, I would say, don't diffuse the message. Stay on the Constitution.
Stay on target.
Stay on the target, and from that, as an addendum or several addenda to that, it would be important to say, in support of this, guess where Thomas Paine belongs in this mix? Very important, dead center of what the Constitution was trying to do, and that's a point to be made, but perhaps not in this one.
Right.
Focus on this would be my guess. I don't know what they'll do. But
Well, and again, part of the issue is trying to sort of figure out where to walk. I mean, there are so many issues just about speaking to the students, than dealing with the educators, and if they perceive your point of view isn't in line with theirs. I mean, there are just a whole lot of issues, and to me, it's like, so when I hear somebody sort of talk about it in a pure form, which I believe that's what you're doing, you're talking about the Constitution and that, you know, so that seems pretty naive, but it's also, to me, it's like that's what we have to do. We have to sort of look at what was intended and then try and figure out how to make that relatable. it's an ongoing educational process for us within the people we're working with and what we want to do with the project. And you know, our goal is to do something pretty, I mean, literally pretty cool enough that students would, something they would talk about and be inspired, because you know, we all, I think, look back, and I don't know how you got to be where you are, and I'm basically a musician who was inspired by a great teacher. That teacher made the difference in my life, and you know, the person who got you interested in the Constitution changed your life and gave you direction. So, you know, hopefully you can find somebody you can inspire, you know, and at the end of the day, it's just something we want to do because we think it's important. You know, beyond that, get all the best advice you can, do the project, and then roll it out and see who loves it and who hates it. You know?
And if they hate it, you shoot them.
But,
We have an amendment about that, I think.
but ultimately, it is about 917 and putting it out in front of them. And you know, we're going to have something launched for this first.
Thanks for coming over, guys.
Most
Thank you
certainly.
so
Thank you for
much.
having us.
It's really cool. We kept you like a little bit after.
Thank you so much.
Well, and
It was so nice to meet you.